Hi again, and welcome to a new VOD. Today we're going to look at Placebo. It's around 4K below Grandmaster Flex DPS player. This VOD is from a scrim they played on, well, Blizzard World and so forth. We're going to do Blizzard World and we're going to end it there. But so in this meta, we see from the top Doom, Sim, Mei. That's three of the probably most mainstream meta heroes we're going to see. The important thing about these heroes is not wasting your resources, it's not making bad cooldown management decisions, and playing in a good initial position to start of the fight. So those are the main focus points we're going to look at for this VOD. So starting off, I like where you're holding. There's like most cases you're going to have a mirror comp of some sort where you're playing Orisa, Sigma with Symetra and a Mei. And then support's a bit flexible, but most of the time you see Lucio Moira. Baptiste sometimes play, I see you play it, but most of the time Lucio Moira is the most played. So we're going to expect that the enemy team is playing a mirror or a similar comp, maybe Mei Reaper, maybe Mei Hanzo, but some sort of Mei bunker.
What do they have?
Mei, Lucio, Zen, Diva, Orisa.
Okay, you now have some information. You know they have low healing. They play Lucio set, low healing. Higher shield damage, not great, but higher. They're playing Reaper, so close range damage. And they're playing Orisa. So the matchup is kind of a mirror, but Symetra is just a more efficient tool if the fight lasts longer than 10 seconds or so. Which means generally Symetra is a better choice. When you're playing in a mirror in this matchup, it's really, really important you play in a position that you, 1, cannot get walled off in, that you, 2, do not overextend past your shield, and 3, focus down the enemy tanks. Tanks are the main targets as long as you're playing Symetra in this kind of comp because they're easy to hit, you burn down shields with your normal fire, and not wasting your ammo on long range right clicks when they're starting to get close, and wasting it on trying to hit things when you could shoot tanks.
Reaper's going up top left side.
So I like this position. I don't want to see you push further forward in this box right here. The instant you're beyond this box, they can Mei wall you off, and that will make you isolated. So shield placement should be somewhere around here. There's not really a good option for the enemy team to push the left side, and they don't play a real flanker who can go from behind for you. They're playing Reaper, sure, but Reaper's lack of mobility and his lack of longer range burst damage will mean that he's easy to manage if he goes on a flank. So the only real pressure they're ever going to have is going to come from this side through their tank line.
Pulling?
Knees low.
They're kind of pushing right side, so.
Orisa no shields.
Pulling?
This is really good. Just, you're not extending until you have a pick. You want to keep backing off. I don't know what your second tank is actually, I haven't seen him yet, but when we'll see. They're playing a single shield, which means that you should be able to burn the shield, burn the Orisa. Every single fight, that's your main objective.
Mei's going underneath.
May
She's discorded. Nice.
Oh, you're playing Hanzo, okay. You're not playing Mei. So, what does the matchup change if you're playing Hanzo? Well, you have more shield damage, more tank pressure. I like the Mei more because right now there's very small... Your ability to fail, well, or make up for mistakes rather, is very limited. Mei is really good for, oh, I misplaced shield. Bam, here's a wall, we can still rotate, we can still walk around, we have time. Your comp has very little margin for failure. Like, margin for mistakes, I guess. Because the instant you make a mistake, you should be easy to punish for it because you don't have the utility needed. You're lacking the DPS utility from the Mei. The reason Mei is played is like it's good at abusing enemy teams making mistakes, and it's good at helping your team get out of tough spots when you make a mistake. So it's harder for you to stabilize the fight again when you're not playing Mei. You do have higher shield damage, but Symetra shield damage is so high it's not that significant with Hanzo.
I'll tap you out.
You got her. Chilling.
So you're playing Baptiste-san. You're playing a pure shield break comp with Sigma Orisa, which is fine on defense. It's gonna be it's a bit rough if they're playing like a Symetra themselves with everything else and then a Sigma, because you would actually be able to break their shield before they start breaking through to you and be getting enough space to be in a position to place a Mei wall. So you guys are in a position that you need to finish these fights. As long as they're playing Reaper though, your comp is fine. Because the cycles are too long for Reaper.
Push back,
They went
push back.
they're spawned.
How's it? I don't have to kill anyone anymore? What? Alright, we can dragon this. They don't have a VAP, so...
So for turret placement. Turret placement is probably better used in two ways. Either you can place them, like if... I'm just gonna wait for you to stop pressing tab.
So Pab, let me know when you're about to dragon.
I can't hear you, you can't hear me.
They're going you, they're going you.
Okay, so let's say that the enemy team places their shield like this. And they're standing behind it. If you place your turrets behind your Orisa shield, they will also help with shield break, which is one way of using it. Other than that, you want to use them like as a turret bomb with the wall. Or you can place them like on this wall here, so whenever they push past, they're forced to take it slower. I don't really like this spread out positioning, unless you're doing it for scouting purposes, which shouldn't be needed. The reason to do this, right, is to use it for scouting. So you're checking if no one's coming on a flank, but their comp does not really have flankers, so you would want to use them either for shield break, or to slow their rotation down by the time they start taking space. If they're going to slow them down, you can place them here, up here, on this wall, over here, anywhere where they are going to have to walk past before they get into position to engage, or they have to walk past when you're kiting. You don't have utility for Mei, you need to use the utility of the turrets.
We're going up top left side, up top left side, up top left side.
Yeah,
Reaper 1, no Wraith. Yeah, you stay high ground, Thunder. I'm gonna take...
I think they're going all the way back, all the way back. No, here. Yeah, all the way back.
Yeah, going all the way around.
Dragon. Where's this one?
Okay, so this is important. This is something I want to talk about. This wall is purely defensive, which means that if they push through it, they're through it, right? But there's a way to stop that from happening, not giving them the option to push through the wall to remove it all its value. And instead of placing it like this direction, you can place it through the enemy team. If you place it through the enemy team, your team can kite back and forth through it to stop them from hitting you. And it also allows you guys to move forwards or backwards as needed. It gives you more options on how to play. This is how I would like to place the wall. If your wall is placed like this, however, you're standing here and they're standing here. You cannot really push through because then the wall is useless. And if they push through, the wall is also useless. So I would like to see a wall through the enemy team. And even though it's not really like, oh, we want to shield them off from us. Well, not really. You kind of want to split them off from themselves. And you also want to have the option of going aggressive or passive yourself. And you want to be able to play around the shield, which you will be if you place it through them as well. So it's just a more... Well, it's viable in more situations, and it's also usually more efficient.
Reaper to Wraith,
Reaper going red.
Yeah, he's on the right side.
Play shield, play shield, play shield.
So right here, when you're shooting shield, it doesn't really matter because the sim shield is up, but it's going to go down any second. You don't need to see the whole shield to damage, you only need to see part of it, so I'd like a little bit more on the side here. Just so you don't get randomly taking damage from stuff.
Pulling?
But imagine if you place your shield through like that. You could now walk all the way up and be tasting these people from over here. It just gives you so much more options of what to do if you start winning the fight, and it also allows you not only to hold the fight, but close out the fight by using only the Symetra wall.
D below.
I wanna...
Reaper there.
They're taking high ground from us now.
Turret placement again, probably this wall, or the wall on the other side here, but not in the open, it's easy to kill.
Oh, no, they're not.
Where's this quarter?
Help, Pander, help me, help me, help me. Orisa one, Orisa one, Orisa one. Reaper below. Reaper dead.
Leave this quarter.
Good target focus.
May bad. May Discord up top.
Dead.
Okay, very good. Good movement. Yeah, this is all fine.
I have another wall. Moira one main. She's stuck. Oh, she's gone.
He's left.
Okay, so next fight, what do they have? They probably have Blizzard soon.
They might be close to Reaper.
Blizzard.
Yeah.
Oh, and self-destruct.
Okay, so you're all tracking. Good thing that you're doing it. You say they have Bomb, you say they have Blizzard, and you say they're close to Death Blossom. So what do you need to be afraid of? You need to be afraid of a bomb splitting you off after you place a Orisa shield. It's going to force you to, like, into a really awkward position. you need to be careful of Mei ults. You can't overcommit your base resources. You need to have a TP. You need to have your fortifying Orisa. You need to be split up for it. So they can force a lot of really awkward situations. Most likely they're going to engage with a D.Va bomb after you place a shield. So you need to either position your players so that you can counterplay a bomb, or you need to position in a way in which case you can use a shield. So either positioning or using shielding to block the bomb. That's likely going to be the first thing they do this fight with the ult tracking that you say. Reaper ult and Mei ult are going to be used later in the fight after a team has committed resources. Using Reaper or Mei first is very counterplayable because you can split up, and you can play positions which you can completely counterplay it, and you're also playing Sen. If the other team was playing Ana, it would be a different story because of the nade, but they aren't, so you're playing Sen. But they want to force the trans up before they use Mei or Reaper, which they can potentially do with Bomb.
Did Lucio die early? No, he was.
So what I would do is that I would use the inside of Nakramas, and I would use the back of point, the staircase. I would use those two to play around the bomb and the blizzard. The Reaper will never get in as well without using one of those two ultimates first. So play inside here and down the staircase, and then have your Orisa hold normally on point here with the shield like she is now.
No, I killed him. I killed him halfway
What do you
through.
see, Pav? What do you see?
Main. Yeah, they're on main.
I have wall again.
Even no boosters.
D.Va's up top left side.
She's really low DM.
They're pushing left side.
I'm pushing. I'm going to you, Pav.
Be careful of pushing out this far. If the Mei is there, she's ready to wall you.
I'm gonna wall this.
Watch.
I think they debated us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna dragon.
So with your positioning, you do not care. Okay, so let's go back, because this is really, really important.
I'm pushing. I'm going to you, Pav.
When they rotate here, you do not care that they set up like this. That is fine by you. It's more important to control this side. If they get on point here, you guys still have more damage. The Reaper's never going to be able to get through your shield anyway. And you're not positioning super in the open and allowing them to debate you. You don't care if they get on point, as long as you can also contest it, because you have more shields and more damage. Well, they have utility. You need to position so that their utility cannot carry the fight. Which you do by playing more split, because you did the ult tracking. Position according to the ultimates that you ult track. Because this information that you're ult tracking with is more than most teams have to work with a lot of the time.
I'm gonna wall this.
Watch.
I think they debated us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dragon.
I'm dead.
Falling.
But this chance is super late, which is not good.
Main. Reaper.
You Sigma ult in the last fight.
Reaper. Next. Main.
Oh, maybe?
Dragoning. Spawn.
You got this. You got it.
You guys can win. You guys.
Also, in these kinds of fights, I guess in my plan, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Use the TP. It's winnable. It's winnable. No.
I can plug you. Sleep.
Okay.
To check if this fight is winnable, if you're going to come back like this and you're going to try to win a stagger fight and you're calling winnable, I'd probably go Doomfist earlier and just switch to it to get back. But this will set you up better for second point.
Lucio one.
He's gonna beat soon.
D.Va's low.
Reaper left side.
Yeah, Reaper.
Reaper to main.
I got pulled.
So you're switching your targets a lot here. Remember, your objective is not to immediately kill them. Your objective is to force a contestant to point, helping your teammates contest the point, and stop them from pushing you off it. You do not need to push into them, you just need to be at max attack range.
Pulled in.
So you're pushing too far in here and taking too much damage and therefore you die.
Reaper.
This could be.
Behind.
They've got what's coming. They got next?
They might be close
Reaper again
to
soon.
Reaper
Maybe
ult.
soon now.
Yeah. Bottom go again.
Just remember, we have TP to get back. Need
Yep.
to. Like if they start like pushing us really hard.
I'm gonna go up the high.
Me too.
They might have D.Va bomb this push 100%, and they might be close to beat as well.
Okay, beat, good stabilizing tool. D.Va bomb, good for forcing out resources if the enemy team is positioned poorly. Position for D.Va bomb, use the insides and left and right. Do not all play too clumped up.
Falling.
Reaper's up top right side.
He still has ult.
Yep.
Use the Discord. Dragoning. Discord.
I'll beak.
Rest
So right here, when they're very close to you, you're spamming your right click a lot. which ends up you're being on 20 energy by the time you start left clicking, and you're also on 30 energy when you start shooting tanks. You could have been on 60. So just think about spamming your right click less, so you have more charge for going into the beginning of fight.
Let's go.
It's good.
Here's the one.
Diva. Yeah.
Leave a Discord.
Point.
Rebrand.
Reaper's up top behind us.
You do not care about this Reaper. That is not your job. That is the Sigma. That is your backline. That is your other DPS. That's not your job. Your job is tanks. Purely tanks. Shoot shields, shoot tanks.
He's up top, right side.
Reaper don't raid. We can catch him.
Please remember, as long as you're denying their tanks are taking space, there's no pressure onto your backline or your tanks outside of that Reaper, and there's 4 people dealing with him already. So as long as you have a shield and you're dealing with the enemy tanks, you're winning this fight.
We can catch him.
Use the TP.
Falling.
Or not, just back up, run.
It's a risky play. I don't really like it. Like it's fine, but if you get punished there, it's really, really bad. So it's just a high risk, low reward play.
Alright, you guys can go high ground again.
Help under. Nice.
Did
They
Reaper
still
go
have.
forward or is he still behind?
No, he's main.
No, he went back.
Okay.
I can bongo this fight.
You should have someone scouting the inside here. No one is calling anything for it. So you're just expecting to come out here without knowing if they could be here. And the Reaper needs to walk in on you, so the only way that they would make sense to rotate is either in this direction or go behind this direction. This is probably way better. So they're likely going to come from here if they're smart. And you're not scouting it, which is not good. They're playing Reaper, they need to get close to you. You're playing Hanzo, you want long sight lines.
I have wall for this
Back
one.
to high ground behind us.
They're gonna. They have Diva bomb this push. Be ready for it.
Yeah.
Play behind
No, wait, there's Symetra Reaper now, okay.
corners.
On you,
Reaper
on you.
teleporting high ground.
Yeah.
Cool.
Reaper's.
For your Hanzo player, no reason to flank. There's no reason to flank in this matchup ever. As long as both teams are playing Orisa stuff, you probably should be playing Mei, but if you're playing Hanzo, just shoot shield, shoot tanks. That's the important thing. If Reaper's on a flank, you have a Sigma to help deal with him, and you can deal with him when he comes. But your Symetra and Hanzo should be focusing shields and tanks.
Up top.
He's gonna ult
And there's no reason to flank, almost ever.
this
Reaper
time.
north. He's going right side.
I just got ult.
It's probably.
Use wall.
That's a really good wall, but it's way too late. You need to use wall when they are going in on you. You don't use it like before both shield break. You want to use it as your Orisa shield is starting to get low and you're starting to get too pressured.
They're using a lot. Just back up.
It's fine. Well, we can come back with
If you want to die, you can
Flux.
die on point.
Yeah.
If you want to die, you can just die on point.
I give you permission to die.
We still have 4
On
ults.
point.
5 ults coming
Yeah.
in.
Let's flux this next one.
Okay. So they have beat. We can use window to force out beat.
Okay, I like this plan. So you call which ultimates here. It's a bit slow that you're all planning, but with the ultimates you have, let's go back and watch it. Let's talk about what the ultimates in your composition do. So you have 2 primary starting ultimates of the fight, which is going to be 3 actually. You have Symetra Wall, you have Bongo, and you have Window. So these 3 ultimates are your primary engage ultimates. And then you have 2 which are stabilizing ultimates, which is for after they are forced resources or you need to stabilize the fight. So you'll use this in the second phase of the fight. And then you have Hanzo, which is like, it's really hard to get value from, but you can combine it with, let's say, Sigma ult when they land. It's an ultimate you're not afraid of throwing out because it doesn't have a big setup potential. And the setup you can do with this is Dragon into pull. But all over, you're not too scared of overusing this ultimate. So it's an extra ultimate to make sure you're closing out a fight, or it's an ultimate you just throw out when you have it. It builds quickly and it's a bit hard to set up in the mid fight. And it doesn't have a real job in the team composition. So I would like you to use one of these first, and then plan for using this if you force resources. Like let's say the Orisa uses Fortify. Okay, if the Orisa uses Fortify when we window, then we will use our Sigma ult, right? Some sort of plan like that.
They have beat. We can use window to force out beat.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna contest on point.
Help Pav up top, left side. Help Pav.
I need heals.
Play behind shields, left side.
Reaper.
This is really awkward, and the reason this is awkward is because your team sets up too early. You don't really want to set up until your whole team is ready to make sure you have good shield uptime, to make sure you're taking space together, to make sure your players aren't getting punished when you cannot repel that pressure that's being put on them. So your team is walking up too fast here, and you're playing too quickly, which leads to your tank's getting too pressured.
Reaper's low.
I have no field, no field.
You're also walking a bit too far forward and away from your team. I want you to play the corners like here, where your Orisa is playing as well. So you're walking a bit too wide, and your team is engaging too early here.
Reaper's on Zen. Nice.
Fuck, that wall's so fucking dumb.
Stab. More threat.
Sims right side. They might be close to Moira ult, and they still have beat.
Remember, still be taking some off angles from me.
Yeah. High ground.
You're spamming too many right clicks again. You need to be ready for this shield to drop. The spam you deal with right click is only for between the fights when they're walking in. You don't actually use that. You need to be full charge when the shield drops, or at least close to full charge, because you recharge by shooting shield, but you need to be ready for this fight, which you aren't. You're going to use the first few seconds to reload, and if you have to do that, that means your shield breaks first.
Pulling?
It's a good window.
No, what the fuck?
Huge. Nice.
It's like, you know, it's awkward. There's not, like, your positioning is fine, it's just, you're not ready for that boop. If you want to counterplay it, you can play closer to the wall, just make it a habit, because you're walking too wide too often, but, like, this shouldn't really happen.
No, what the f-
It's not a big mistake at all, you already won the fight, you're gonna get back in time, it's fine.
Man.
They have a
I
Hanzo.
don't like that spot. Back.
I'm getting up high real quick.
Like, if I were you, yeah, this is a fine TP. I was just gonna say this.
What do you want to do here?
I'm gonna bongo.
And also, placing a TP like this, which gives immediate high ground control, changes your stall picks somewhat. It makes, well, Doomfist is better now because you don't have to come from low ground, you can come from high ground. But heroes like McCree is harder to deal with, heroes like Mei is harder to deal with. Heroes that struggle getting high ground but greatly benefit from it, Soldier. Like, all these heroes greatly benefit from high ground but struggle taking it here. So you having a TP on high ground allows your team to play different heroes when they come in. It also lets your bull use his grapple out of spawn and still be able to slam immediately.
Let them come in and use some of these turrets.
I'm gonna drag.
You start shooting shield later than their Symetra. The turret is not your job. Whatever goes on behind you is not your job. Your job is to shield and the shield only.
Help Orisa, help Orisa. They might have sim wall.
No, it's a pretty good dragon. But it's not cold and it's not combined with pull.
Push, 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 push.
Someone's stuck in the left room.
Diva's far left, she just crit.
Leave half.
I need heals.
Pulling?
D was down.
I'm reloading.
No, what?
I have no idea why you're walking out into that.
Oh shit, sorry, put it too high.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sorry, Hanzo.
I guess, like, I see that the way it flies is super, super awkward. Just let's see it again.
Leave half.
I need heals.
Pulling?
D was down.
Oh, it gets, oh, I see what happened. It gets pulled by the Orisa pull, so you expect it to land there. But it continues to go after AA, okay, that's weird. But there's no reason to not make it a habit to walk into corners as teams are diva bombing you, because the time to walk from here to here, and from here to here is the same. Just walk into the corners to make good habits. If you know it's going to go really wide, then you can go on this side. If you know it's going to go short, then you can go this side. There's no reason to not go into the corner if you're going to go this far out anyway.
No, what the?
Oh shit, sorry, put it too high.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sorry, Hanzo.
They have no Moira now.
We have TP from spawn. We can still contest it, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, we have dragon again. We have wall. They're gonna have wall.
I'm gonna open up with wall.
You don't gain anything from poking here. You already have your ultimate. The only thing that's going to happen is you feed their support ults. You're not actually going to gain anything from this. There's no reason to spam. And the only thing you're going to gain, given the mult charge and maybe dying to random damage, neither of things you really want to happen at all.
They're gonna do their wall.
Okay. Use this shield.
Pulling? Great shield. There you go.
Orisa.
This is good. I again think the shield placement through the team would be better, but this is pretty good. Good positioning here.
I can't heal you over there.
How's that win?
I don't have pull. D.Va down right.
D.Va.
I would call for a push to either direction of their wall here. I would call to push through it, or I would just call to put like hold on your side of it. But probably I would call to push through it as a team. And I would let your team follow up on this D.Va much better than they are.
I need heals, please. Thank you.
Orban.
Mini D.Va? Nice.
Nice. Ooh.
Okay, this is a pretty good round. Your initial positioning is usually fine, but you're too eager to move from it. Hold your positions more as a team. At turret placement, know why you're using your turrets, have a goal with them. Either use them to help break shield, do turret bombing, or stop them from rotating as quickly as they could, instead of throwing them out to check for flanks, because they don't actually play with the flanks at all, and if they do, your team is already aware and is a bunky reaper who 4 people can deal with.
We'll have to look up
You also need to shoot the enemy tanks.
the off angles for that spot with the, because it's like
Like, we can go in fast. Dead.
A comment about me having the jail spray.
Oh, they're running Symetra. Let's go left side. Bob.
Okay, so you guys can have the same issue that they had now when you're walking in. If they just wait,
I mean double shield.
yeah, if they're just sitting there, you have to walk into them, and you never really want to walk into a team like that. You want to find a TP you can use. You can either TP to the opposite side of point, or you can go TP to the other side of point and then walk around and come out onto the gate of second point and play from that angle, which also gives you the option to go high ground. Which is a play I really like, is going all the way opposite. So yeah, I would TP to the other side of the map here, and I would go inside and around to the back of point and play from second point.
Again.
Are we TPing or just?
No, just push into them. We need this shield pressure. Nice, one shield's down. They have a TP. TP's dead. Bob dead.
Okay, you guys have a pick. When you have a pick, you don't go in. You keep playing slow. You keep just killing tanks, killing shields, breaking through, walking slowly, and making sure, most importantly, you do not die. Everyone on your team's first priority is not dying. Second priority is killing the enemy team. As long as you're dealing damage and not dying, eventually the enemy team is going to die before you.
Shield and 4.
Don't take the TP.
No eat, no eat, no eat.
Doom slow, left side. In the mini.
No, he has like a big.
Again, remember, Doom, not your job, focus tanks.
Doom.
Where the fuck did he go?
Now he's
Because you don't actually deal any damage to him, because you're not able to track him.
He's one.
Doom 1. Can we kill him? Can we kill Doom? Can you kill Doom? Kill
Dead.
So by the time you kill their Doom, they should have you should already have killed both their tanks, because he's wasting time doing nothing. If you just kill the shields, there's no help for him. If his team pushes in here, they can actually save him and probably kill you. So the enemy team is not using the fact that he's forcing so much attention. If they did that, they probably would have won the fight, but they're too scared of your damage. But you're not focusing them. But the reason they don't push in is because they expect you to shoot at them, but you aren't. So if they pushed into you there, they probably would have killed you.
Dead.
I'm gonna go find them.
shield.
Calling?
Holy shit, okay.
I have no idea where your Symetra is Symetra, but your Moira is flanking. Play with team, play slow, kill tanks. That's how you win these fights.
You have no shield, no killing pressure now?
The way you lose these fights, like, you never need to make plays. You never ever need to make plays if you're ahead. You only need to make plays when you're behind. A really important rule. If you plays are high risk, high reward plays, are also the risk of losing the fight entirely. But playing slave, playing slow, and playing together with this comp, if you're ahead in a fight, you're never going to lose. Because there's no play that the enemy team can make to properly beat you as long as you're played together.
They have this.
So basically what you're doing here is giving the enemy team a chance to come back into the fight.
Down.
It's still kind of winnable. Still kind of
Yeah,
winnable.
they're really low.
Calling?
Yeah, making them look at me up top for some reason.
Coming back.
Versa 1.
Almost there. Doom nano. Doom's in the back.
Alright, that's
Okay then. This one.
So okay, here it is. Your team is playing too fast. You're playing too fast. You're too worried about the DPS. You're too worried to close the fight out and kill things. No, you don't. Play your calm, play slow. It's so much easier and it's so much more consistent. And like, the most important rule that people need to learn, players need to learn, if you're ahead in a fight, you never need to make a big play. Because a play is a catch-up mechanic. A play is something you do to carry, and you shouldn't need to solo carry something as long as you're playing a team company, you're playing it together. But you should have to carry if your team is starting to fall behind, because you need to make up for this lag of one person dying, or you need to make up for the fact that they are pressuring your shield harder than you are, and you need to do a play. But as long as you're ahead, which you guys are every single fight, there's no need for you to
Use the TP.
not play, not play slow.
Oh yeah. They have a bop instead of Lucian.
Also, I just want to remind you, going behind, going to second point gives you a better engagement point for the fight.
You can probably just spare this in real life, right?
It also stops the Doomfist from having any angles to attack. Like here, Doomfist can come down from this side, he can come from this side, or he can come from main. But if you have walked in through this side, he cannot come from this flank anymore, because this flank is horrible for him. He can only come from this side. So you're forcing the Doomfist to only play certain positions. You're giving this Doomfist a lot of space to play in. Also, no reason for you to be here, it's only a chance of getting picked. That's the only thing you're going to achieve. Which almost happens.
I'm taking off
I would
angle.
say, yeah, say Thunder, go to the right side. Nice.
Oh, huge.
Huge
I'm going
pick.
main,
Let's
you
go,
can
let's go, let's go
right,
main.
You can go right.
Me and Odisa pushing left.
You go right, you go right.
Not important to kill that TP, it's more important for you to stay behind your own shield. You don't need to walk through your own shield.
No gold.
Odisa one.
This.
You're way too far forward. Stand back, play max range, shoot tanks, shoot shield. It's not that hard. Just play at max range. If you're playing this close, you're gonna get naded, you're gonna take random damage when shield breaks. You're walking in front of your shield for no reason. You need to take it slow. You're way too quickly moving forward. You're playing as if you're playing Goat still. This is not Ghost. You're not playing Zarya or Braid. We're running into the enemy team. No, you're playing slow. You're sitting behind your shield. You're breaking their shields. Luckily for you, they
Use 3 ults.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
yeah, it's fine because they force so many ultimates, but you still overcommit ultimates yourself.
It might be.
No.
It's not terrible
No,
because
no,
they
no,
also
that's
overused, but it's not great either.
I have wall for this push. So they used wall.
They use wall bongo. They have an
and-
honest, so they're...
Alright, so same deal. I'm gonna go right again.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna wall us in.
Let's
go left side
here.
here.
Bongo here.
As soon as
Some
the
high,
map is done.
some high ground. Falling. Huge.
These turrets, not your job. Stay like if you shield through the enemy team here, I would shield. So let's go back and see. I'll show exactly how I would have shielded.
As soon as the map is done.
Some high ground.
So right here, if you shield like this right now, they cannot play the space of point at all. They cannot push into this. This is free area for you to play. If they push through there, they die. So they're forced to play on this side of it. This means that you can walk up without caring about these turrets. You basically gain half the point for free. Because if you always like wall off so that the corner, which is here, they can't play on it anymore. Which means you have to fall back to this position and play this corner instead, which is a terrible corner to play. It's a reason you're not going on this side yourself. So you basically stop them from playing that angle. You stop them from playing this area. And you force them into this small like back part of point and the other side of the choke. So I would wall straight through like that. And then make sure that it hits like rather this side of the corner rather than this side. Because if you hit the other side, they can still play the corner. So rather hit right here. That's the best way. It gives you the whole point for free and should win you the fight.
Falling.
Because right here, you cannot push left side anymore. If you could push in on left side, the Orisa's just dead. She's gone.
Huge. Orisa. Get the delay. Let.
You guys are committing too much to this fight. Your ult economy is going to be in shatters after this.
I'm gonna bongo next fight then.
Guys, come. We're gonna cap
yeah,
up top. Main. Come. Follow me.
I'm here. I'm with you.
Doom.
Who's pushing?
I got it.
This is fine because they're coming out of spawn and you have good control and you're together. As long as you're together, you can do almost whatever you want to. As long as you're playing slow and playing together.
Oh, I fell down. They pushed me in.
How did you get pulled by that?
Pushing. Who's pushing?
I got it.
Oh, that's sad. Your Orisa misplaced her shield. Okay.
I fell down. They pushed me in. God damn it.
Yeah, that's super awkward.
Okay, they're using ults. That's really good.
There is still much to be done.
They use Doom ult. They might be close to Sigma ult, or they have it.
We definitely want to control that high ground.
Yep.
We're doing really nicely with that.
Not there yet. I'm gonna bong you here. And Pun, you can try and take high ground once they back off.
It is fine not playing behind your shield there because you're not LOSing the enemy team. If you cannot see the enemy team, but you can still shoot their shield, there's no reason to have a shield for your own that they can also shoot.
Falling?
Sim TP down.
You are not scared enough for this Doomfist. I'm not saying focus Doomfist, I'm saying you're not scared enough of him. You're putting yourself in a really awkward position here. You see a Doomfist jumping straight into your team here. And you keep walking forward. Just wait a bit, wait for him to get out. Or kill him, like out with your team. Or focus their tanks to stop them from helping him. And you just win this fight every time.
Falling?
But you walk in to kill. The TP does not matter. The TP is insignificant. Okay? If they take the TP away, then you get free space. That is fine. You're happy with that. That's good. If you walk forward and die, you lose the fight, and they win it, which is terrible. You cannot trade yourself for the TP. That's silly.
Sim TP down. Doom's half.
Oh,
Man,
They just
Doom's
top left,
spamming
careful.
Doom every second. Doom's half. Doom's
Doom,
dead. Nice.
Oh, no.
Back up. Can we kite that?
A momentary lapse.
Nope.
We might need this one or something.
Yeah, instead of Doom, let's try the...
Thank you for the shields.
I'm gonna swap tab.
I think the Mei would be great here. Completely up to you, but I think the Mei would be great.
No shield now.
I'm on his right side.
They might be close to Doom ult again.
The payload has stopped.
Yeah.
We must get it moving.
Bap up top.
Yeah.
No pull, no pull, no pull.
No pull.
Falling
She has a lot
above.
of lasers.
Shit. This is bad.
We're good, we're good.
That's nice backfield.
Sim.
No more field, no more field.
Take high ground, take high ground.
I'm dead. Orisa one.
So, again, it's the same issue again. So, if you go here. If you go slightly more to this side, you can still shoot the shield. You go slightly more here, you can still shoot the shield. Without being in their LOS.
No more field, no more field.
Placing turrets is just DPS down. You're not dealing damage right here. Which is not good. You want to deal damage to shield. You want to break the shield so the people behind you can also deal damage. These turrets provide nothing.
Take high ground, take high ground.
Right here. Okay, he uses Meteor Strike. Go inside here. So either he only hits you or he hits not you. There's no reason for you to stay with your team right here. You don't have a shield. You don't have pressure. They're giving you space. You can just go inside here and wait it out and kill the Doomfist afterwards. There's no reason for you to stay here. And there's no reason to go wide, okay? This is basically the same as flanking. You play with your team, you stay behind shield, you shoot the enemy shield, and you stop the enemy team from looking at you. If they cannot see you, they cannot shoot you. Going wide is not something you do with Symetra, or in general in this meta.
I'm dead. Orisa one. Okay, yeah. Use that.
Okay, so I would place the wall slightly more like that, so they give more space away. Remember, like every time that you wall on a corner like that, they can no longer play this, but they can also not play this because there's no corners for them to play. So if you wall slightly more this direction, you force half the point, almost, to your side. You get all this space because they cannot play in it. And your team can also push into here, behind your shield. Right now, if they just all walk here, they can just kill you. And this wall doesn't do anything. So your wall placement needs some work.
Playing.
It's okay, stand on our side of the wall.
So this is a time where placing turrets and focusing on turrets is fine, because you're not actually going to break the Symetra shield anyway. Or the Symetra wall.
What is the one? Doom, Sigma.
Sigma, nice.
And here we see you guys doing exactly what I told them to do with your walls. You're just pushing through it, you're getting the space that they're giving you for free. Whenever the Symetra tries to place wall or do anything else in shooting, it's DPS downtime.
Doom.
This is Anna
Pulling rest
Ana,
of
where's
the
the Ana? Okay, left side up top.
We go top.
Yeah, go up.
I'm gonna flux this.
Okay.
Actually, no, I'm gonna stay down. This side. They're top, I think.
Oh, on a purple still. Pulling.
This is good positioning. Why are you placing your TP? You should be shooting shield.
Do it.
Some people top right behind us. Do.
What does that have?
This is a good time to make a play, but it's not the right play and you're not the right hero. You have a Doomfist player who dies, but he's the real playmaker in this comp. Other than that, the rest of you just really good at playing safe and burning through whatever you can.
Doom in the back.
So this is you guys. So you don't really do anything this fight because you're not killing these shields. So you should be shooting shield here instead of placing TP and turret bombing and whatever. And your Doomfist should also play with his front line here because there's no good off angles. This off angle right here is too far. From the high ground is too open. If he plays with you and he looks to punch the enemy Sigma, that's the best value he can get because then he doesn't die. If he does that and you shoot shield, then this is a free fight for you.
Do it. Some people top right behind us. Do.
What does that have?
Doom in the back.
Right on me.
Doom's in the back still.
Are you able to recontest? No, you aren't. So okay, the big things for you here, Placebo, is you need to place your shields better, more aggressively, take space with it, and use it to, like, actually use it. Right now you're just placing it super defensively to deny the enemy team of dealing damage to your team, but use it to go aggressive, use it to be like, the wall can do so many things at once because it's so big, and it lasts for so long. You can use it to stabilize and then afterwards engage if you place it correctly. But think about, so I'm going to make a drawing here. So if this is the point, right here, and then there's this high ground or thing that goes like this, I'm drawing the first point. And then there is this thing. You're walking in like this, and the enemy team is holding here. The instant you place a wall, which goes so they can't walk, they can't walk like this. They can no longer play this corner. The instant they play this corner, they lose the point, which forces them to play on this side of the wall, and they still have to play a corner, which the only option is to play here. Which means you stop all the good positions for them to hold are gone. You gain the entire point for free and put them in a super bad position. You can do that always. It's the same when you come here and we talk about this wall, that you could gain all the space down there for free. So you need to work on your wall placement. Your DPS uptime is not high enough, you're placing too many turrets, you're placing too many TPs mid-fight. You need to kill the shield as your main objective. You're too focused on the Doomfist going into your backline. You're walking too widely on your positioning mid-fight. Your start of fight positioning is fine, and it's good. But once the fight starts, you start going wide, you start going in front of your shield, and you're too eager to kill things. You're too eager to stop the immortality field, you're too eager to stop the TP. You need to just relax and do your job. The TP doesn't matter, the bongo doesn't matter, the immortality, it doesn't matter as long as there's shields to shoot. And if you have to walk through your shield or through your tanks to kill them, it's not worth it. Play safe and play to stay alive. That's the #1 rule right now. Okay, so this was my VOD review for Placebo. If you want a chance to get your VOD reviewed, you can join my Discord, link in the description. I'm going to be uploading more of these now, hopefully, and I'll put my socials down below as well. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all very, very, very soon.